Hello and welcome back to Cities, Skylines, Better Cities, and in today's episode we're gonna have some unexpected changes to the Dream City. First of all, this area is gonna get expanded. This sustainable district is gonna take out all of the space that you can currently see in frame. All of this is going to be this new sustainable district, and the other thing that's gonna happen is gonna happen on this side where I started cleaning up this area to build the new tourism slash innovation slash leisure kind of district, and we're gonna start working on it today. And first of all, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remove all of the buildings that do not really contribute to anything, and we're gonna put an Apple campus in their place. And I think these buildings represent exactly what I mean. The only thing is we're probably going to have to locate this campus off to one side somewhere over here, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Let's start building. We're going to remove this and that and this. All of these buildings will have to go. It is some kind of necessary evil. We will need to have new developments. We'll need to have a completely new area, so losing a couple of residential buildings and maybe a few thousand people is not that big of a deal for this residential area, so let's do just that. Child Health Center. This is something I would like to keep. This is something that can go completely, nobody really cares. Out with the old, in with the new. That's precisely what's going to happen in this area. And I think we're going to have some kind of a driveway into the campus area, and then the campus is going to be somewhere in the middle, and the rest of it, well, the rest of it is going to be green space. The rest of it might be some residential development. We're going to see later on what can we actually fit in here. And yeah, I do realize we're gonna have to remove a couple of these buildings, but well, who cares? The city has to grow, it has to have some kind of development, and this development has to be sustainable. So all of these buildings, they do not really contribute to any of that. If they do not align with the idea of what it's supposed to be, I think they're just not supposed to be here. That is a straightforward logic, so let's expand this and see where is Apple campus hiding. Yeah, it doesn't really take up that much space, but the key point is that this area over here has to be innovative, has to be green space, has to look like it's a part of the campus, so that is why we remove those residential buildings. Now let's take a look at the current population of this area. It's currently called Spring Park. We might need to rename this, and we have 27,000 people, and take a look at the average land value. It's 100 cents per square meter, or 100 euros or dollars, whatever that is, whatever the currency is, or Skylines, whatever, pounds. Anyway, it's at 100, which is actually higher than the CBD area. Let's take a look at the CBD area for a second. It's at 64, and if you take a look at the areas around it, it's 93, and then we have 98. It's nowhere near this, because this area is just so nice. So our citizens obviously like it, and that is a good thing. That means we are moving in the right direction. So let's adjust this road a little bit. I think it doesn't have to be a straight, it has to curve a little bit, maybe from here. How do we make this work? Okay, maybe something like this and this, and then it goes over here. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Straight up to here, and then it goes into a curve. Okay, this area, we're going to do all of the detailing later on, but for now we just want to fit in this campus. It's a really, really nice looking building, and it can fit up to 9,000 students, which is going to solve all of the educational demand in this area. Anyway, let's take a look at the other side of the river and what is actually going to happen there. I think what we need to do... Oh, we have no electricity on this side for a bunch of reasons. Probably the main reason would be that lots of buildings that used to be in place are out of there, and that means the entire grid got disturbed, and that is something we can quickly fix. I don't think we really need to do it for all of the buildings, since some of them are going to get removed anyway. And I think we're going to keep the low density area down here, but everything that's happening on this side, everything is going to be slightly different, to put it... Yeah, let's put it that way, slightly different. So basically what we're going to do is make sure that all of these, both sides of the river banks, they just align well and they're going to be the same height. So that means all of this residential over here will have to go, and it's not just residential, it also includes commercial, and it includes unique buildings and everything that was in place. I think here's what we're going to do. We're going to move all of the buildings that we really like to keep as they are, or we would like to move them into some other area later on. We're going to move them off to one side, and then here's what's going to happen. We're going to remove everything with the move it mode, or almost everything. I think this one is one of the buildings that we would like to keep, and we don't really have an empty area large enough to fit it in, and that is a little bit of an awkward situation. Okay, what can we do here? Not much, quite honestly, not that much. Maybe we can remove this road and fit it somewhere in here. But at the end of the day, it will actually all have to move a little bit, because we're gonna have to remove a lot of things in order to do all of the landscaping that we need for this updated area. And here we have a yeah, I think all of this can actually go. Nobody really cares about any of these things. We're gonna lose quite a few people. The population, I think we're gonna remove this building altogether. We can put it in later on. That will be just fine. And let's clean it up with the move it mode. We're gonna select the entire area, and everything that gets selected is going to be removed. Fairly simple and easy to understand. I think the transportation things will have to stay for now. We'll figure them out later on. And let's see what we've done. We've removed plenty of things. All of it is gone. And now let's remove all of the textures. I think this has to be a little bit larger. Yeah, like this. Okay, we're gonna remove all of the texture from the area. Make sure everything is looking nice and clean and looks prepared for the rebuild. And these things that we didn't catch with the move it mode, I think we can remove them manually, because we do want to keep the roundabouts. All we need to do is do some landscaping and make sure the area is looking fine and we don't have that awkward kind of hill, and that difference in the height is not that obvious, or at least there is a transition between different areas and it doesn't look as harsh as it does now. Okay, we can remove the quay as well. I think we're gonna have to install a new one, and let's see what we ended up with. I think this area up there with the low density residential is going to be kind of on a hill, and then we're going to have a transition from this area that's going to be closer to the riverside into that kind of area on the hill. That's going to be a fancy high density residential. Let's pause the game. That is something we should have done early on. Right, and now we're gonna make it in line with or at least on the same level with the opposite side of the river, and or at least it has to be, I think it has to be, no, that's not what I meant to do. It has to be around, I think, as high as this area here. Let's see how that's gonna work. Hopefully that's gonna work. Okay, do we need to widen the river? That will be another question. I think we can, yeah, do it just a little bit like that. Okay, that looks fine. Why do we have these weird... Let's let it run for a while and see if it's gonna sort itself out, or it's gonna be... or it's exactly how it's gonna look. It looks really weird. I don't know what happened in there. Is it because we had the quay and now we removed it? But that's... I think it's not supposed to make any difference, really. Alright, this will have to go as well. And there are also plenty of roads and buildings that we will have to remove. Alright, shall we let it run for a while and see how that goes? Or shall we just do the landscaping first? That is a big question. We're gonna have a beach somewhere on this side. I'm just not quite sure where exactly yet, but we will have it. Let's let it run for a while and see how that goes. So what we've got eventually is another flooding disaster, and the reason for that, every time you move large bodies of water, it's just gonna get kind of unpredictable. So eventually, yeah, things might get out of control just a little bit, and the only sad part is that it's actually messing up this CBD area. You can see the rest of the city is doing fairly okay. It's just that CBD area that's got affected. Alright, it's actually looking not that bad. We fixed the flooding problem, so now it's looking absolutely fine. So we can keep on working on this area. The only thing that we need to do is a smooth transition between these two areas. The one that we have where we have the low density housing, and the one down here that's going to be residential, recreational, commercial, a mix of everything, basically. I think what we need to do is remove the rest of these things, flatten the ground, and then we can put all of the things back in. Here is what we're gonna add, and I think it's a good match for a touristic kind of area. We're gonna have the tallest building in the world, Burj Dubai, in this area on this side, and that is gonna be the tallest building in our city as well, and it's gonna be a jewel in the crown of this new area. We're gonna be doing the thing that seems almost impossible. We're gonna be fitting canals into this existing city. Now, we currently only have one going through the CBD area, and eventually we're gonna have plenty more, and I think we're gonna start on this side because it's gonna be easier since we cleaned it all up. Now you can see the map that I kind of made as a plan for what I'm about to do, and I think this side is gonna be easy to do because I'm gonna go for the wider canal, and I'm gonna make it, I think we can go for wide deep canal. I think this is exactly what we used in the CBD area, and that is the same thing that we're going to be using up here. And I think it's going to start somewhere over here. So here's going to be connection to the water, and then it's going to expand in two directions. Let's see, I think we're going to need some water connection or some water features not far from our brand new Burj Khalifa building. Let's see how can we go about that, and we need to keep them as straight as possible. They'll make everything much easier. And let's see, I think in this bit is gonna be, it's gonna go over here. Let's see how that's going to work. Okay, we don't really care about the building right now. We can do it like this. I think you can connect maybe somewhere here. Will be the other side. Yeah, I think that will make sense. Okay, like this, and then we're gonna expand it over here, and it's gonna be mostly straight lines. I think we're not gonna do anything complicated. And let's see if that aligned. No, that's not aligned properly. We'll have to redo this. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem to be where it's supposed to be for some reason. Let's remove this part over here, and then we can go with the straight on. If it's gonna let me to make it a straight on. Okay, and then straight on down here, maybe. Occupied how? Nothing is in there. Alright, I think we're gonna have to remove this one and then just put the one that goes straight on in its place. Okay, we're gonna do the connection later on. So that is going to be part of the area over here. The rest of it, yeah, there's not going to be any other canal. And let's see, I think it can go upwards here, about this big, and then it can connect somewhere around here. I think it can go actually all the way to the opposite side. Let's see if we can make it happen. Yeah, we're going to have to do plenty of landscaping, but that is not a big deal. We have time to do that. It just, the biggest question is what to keep in place and what is something that we can remove and rebuild. So yeah, that is definitely something to consider. And I want this to be connecting somewhere around here, maybe, or maybe even further away. So this area, there's going to be some fancy residential around this area. And now it seems like straight lines only are looking kind of boring. So yeah, maybe we can add some curves into it. And on this side, there's not much we can do on this side. That is the thing. Or maybe we can if we really want to. Let's give it a try and see how that could work. Okay, that is looking a little bit weird, but it's okay. We can keep it as it is. At least I think we can. And this part, yeah, I think it's gonna go like, yeah, remove that as well. It's gonna go like this. So there's gonna be a curve, but we don't want too much of a curve. Maybe something like this. It's not gonna be... It's gonna be uneven kind of plan, and that is totally fine. Okay, maybe we can connect it like right here like this. Okay, alright, that's taking shape, but I'm not sure. Oh, this is gonna be aligned with this one eventually at some point. And on this side, shall we connect it? Yeah, we can connect it right here. I'm not sure if this area is as big as I want it to be, but yeah. Let's keep it as it is for now. And now I really want to have a canal going somewhere around this area, and that is, well, the place where we can actually put it in, because we have plenty of residential that could be removed. We don't have anything that could get in the way except for our public transport, and more specifically the metro. That will be a really hard thing to get around, because we have plenty of metro lines, and I would like to keep them and keep them as long as they are. So I think we can actually figure something out with the Anarchy. With the Anarchy mode, I think metro lines can go deeper into the ground, or at least we can try. We actually just need to do some kind of like overpass or something like this near the areas where we have a canal and a metro line in the same place. Let's do the simple planning over here. I'm thinking maybe we're going to use a smaller canal on this side. Wide, medium, wide and deep. Just a deep canal. Maybe a deep canal will do for this area. I think, yeah, that'll be just fine. Let's remove this. We can move it to the opposite side, hopefully. That just doesn't fit in, maybe here. Okay, the hospital. That is something we'll need to keep. Where do we put it? Where do we put the hospital? There is no good place for it, unfortunately. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to remove the hospital, and we're going to put a medical clinic. We can put not just one, maybe 2 or 3 instead of that building, and that will work just fine. Maybe another one here, and one more somewhere around this area. Okay, that will do. That will get us enough coverage, probably even more than enough. And now let's get this area clean. So eventually we're gonna get some kind of fancy residential close to the canals, but we just need to remove all of the low density buildings for now, just to free up the space and get things done. Alright, so it actually took plenty of time, much longer than I expected, but in the end we have this layout. So this one is looking a little bit weird for this side, but actually I think in the end of the day, once we have the buildings and everything in place, it's gonna look just fine. And then we have, this is kind of a really wide one, the same as the one that we use in the CBD area, and then we have another one going all the way up here, and this one is a medium one, and then we have a tiny one that you can find on the workshop that's going all the way to the CBD area. And what all of this is going to give us is create a really lovely place, and we're gonna have plenty of water around the residential areas. We're gonna have some new parks and other developments along the side of the canal, and that is gonna be a really nice touch. And you can see a lot of these misplaced cars appearing in random places because I didn't run it to see how it's going to work. I think we might actually have some flooding in the beginning, but eventually it's gonna get back to normal. And the good thing with these canals right now is that I can actually simultaneously fix the weird looking places, the weird, yeah, like this one, weird kind of landscape where you cannot actually see it because it's hidden underneath the buildings and everything, but it's actually there and it's looking funny, and that is a really good opportunity to fix those things at the same time. Okay, I think we can go with this one. Let's turn off the anarchy. Let's connect this road back in place. We're gonna force the ground under it. Why? How does it? Okay. That will fit probably a little bit better. Let's see. Just go straight on, don't turn. Okay, let's just go with the anarchy from here all the way to this side. And we need to raise this point here. And maybe this point a little bit. Okay, that is looking fine. And so far the water is not really... Okay, it started to flow. And let's see what we're going to end up with. I think we're going to have plenty of new riverside parks all over the city, thanks to these canals that create a really nice... Okay, we're running out of electricity, so that means we might get some abandoned buildings, and that is not something that we want. Oh yeah, that is something that I completely forgot to address. No. Let's get the anarchy off and do that again. We need to connect up the entire place again. And we need to do it quick, otherwise we're going to end up with people moving out of the city, and there's going to be much more people than we can accept. We've had plenty of people misplaced thanks to this redevelopment kind of project. Oh, we cannot even connect this. Oh yeah, that could go on the other side here and here. Where did it disconnect? That is the biggest question. I think we might have actually more than just one area where the links were removed between the buildings. Okay, there is plenty of these places, I think, all over the map. Okay, we can fix it real quick. Or at least I hope so. I think we can. Nothing serious. If it gets noticed on time, it is much easier to fix. We can adjust a thing or two later on, it doesn't really matter right now. All that matters is that we can get electricity, water and power supply back in place so that everybody's happy and nobody's moving out, hopefully. How do we connect to this thing here? That might be just a little bit too wide. Alright, it's gonna be weird, just the emergency kind of response to fix everything quick. We're gonna make it better later on, just for now, to prevent people from leaving the city, which could end up being a much bigger trouble than it was intended to be, which is something we don't want at all. Might be a variety of places. Let's have it running for a while and then we'll see if we fix the issue. And yes, we did. Immediately everybody's got power, everybody's happy. All kind of happy. At least not as upset as they used to be just a couple of seconds ago. Anyway, the water is going to start flowing in and it's going to take quite a while. Alright, it seems like it's gonna be a really long video. It took quite a while to shoot all of this, and the result is quite satisfying. I think everything is doing okay now. The canal network is operating, and it's looking good. And we had some major floods in a few areas, but other than that, everything's got back to normal. Floods didn't last long enough, and eventually none of the buildings got ruined, except for the ones in the Riverside Park, but that is not a big deal. And we have a few issues here and there, but eventually it's gonna just get itself sorted, and it's looking good. It's looking so much better than what we used to have. And the goal here was not to have some kind of a river with the beaches and everything. It's just a network of canals that just adds some water, adds some fresh air, and just a more interesting kind of landscape. It doesn't have to be like that. They don't have to be able to touch the water or do anything. It just looks nice. It looks and feels nice to have rivers and canals in your city. Anyway, that is pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.